Greetings, dear ones. I'm Cryan of Magnetic Service. Some of you feel that God and the source are removed. That God is in the sky and you sit on the ground. And so the separation itself stands in the way of the kind of meld that some of you seek. The one that would have you walk the hills and the valleys holding hands with the creative source. And to add to the issue, some of you have been taught all your life that you cannot achieve that kind of meld and that it's not within your power. And you come and you sit here, or you'll walk the paths, and there's a little voice, perhaps the one that emanates from the ground of the trees or the water, that says, do it anyway. Do it anyway. The voice of God is smaller than you think. It's because you have free choice, dear ones. And the idea that you might awaken to a grander print of consciousness has to be your idea. And you have to glean it from the evidence around you and not from other sources. And I may sit here and I may introduce it to you, but I cannot put it in your lap. You have to do that. I can tell you that the source of your issues as you sit here is eminent if you reach out and touch it. But I can't put it in your lap. And I want to. I want to. I would like to describe so completely the shift that is upon you at the moment. New realizations and awakenings, should you choose to put out your hand. And in all intent and being fair, the best faith that you could have in what you can't see and what you don't know, that you would say, show me. It's what I want, dear Spirit, is to be with you. And that, my friend, is the catalyst for the consciousness shift that is available to you. Let me tell you something I've never said before. You don't have to be spiritual to have God in your life. How about that? For the human being with God in their life, and that is to say, the one who then absorbs the core information and applies it to themselves, is the one who is successful with other humans. The one who is peaceful with other humans. The ones who's not afraid of what's going on in their body. Someone here needs to hear that. You know who you are. You realize, don't you, dear one? You know who I'm talking about. You're not going to get your healing until you stop your fear. You knew that, didn't you? As long as you're going to fear it, you put a brick wall right there. Nothing's going to happen. So here you are with information. I'm saying that the core of you is the core. It's not some spiritual idea. It doesn't belong to the New Age. It belongs to humanity. And you're all searching for the same thing. You can sit in that sweet spot and feel it. This is a good place for that. If you're going to take a hike, if you're going to climb the mountain, if you're just going to walk around just a little bit, I challenge you. This is a good place. You sit in a node of the planet where the time capsules exist, ready to pour out this to the human being who wants it to be poured to them. But you gotta want it. Cryon, please describe what's really in the mountain. I hear it. I hear it. I can't, because you wouldn't understand it. But I can give you metaphors. I can give you hints. I can give you ideas. I can rewrite your mythology if you'd like, and it's time. What I present next is given in full love, appropriateness, and maturity for those who wish to hear it properly. And if it resounds to you, I invite you to take it to the next level. If you choose to stay in the belief that you had, it will still serve you, for it honors that belief you have. This is how we see all of you. No shoulds. You do the thing which brings you into an alliance with the closest part of the core of you. And that alliance may be something far different or simpler than another person. The intellectual will have a much different alliance than the non-intellectual. The emotional human being will have a much different kind of an alliance to the one who is not. And all of them can take the hand of God. And so what is presented next is a hint as to what might be going on in the mountain that is so close to you. It's a node, dear one. What have they told you about it? Aurelia Jones is here. And some of you will know who she is and some will not. For she wraps her arms around the area and she celebrates the fact that you have come to her mountain. And early when she came, dear ones, the mountain spoke to her. And it gave her images and information. And it did so in a way that she could understand it as a human being who walked around in 3D. For God is not in 3D. And so the things that had to be given to her were given in a framework that she could understand. And she met Adana, who was the head Lemurian of the city in the mountain. And all of the information that she received, literally, was about the time capsule that would eventually, literally, come apart as it disseminated the energy and the information that it contains along with its partner. A node has a partner which is called a null, and we're not going to give it to you yet. But let me talk about the one that faces you now. In order for me to describe what actually might be there, I have to take you on a metaphoric journey for your appreciation. And so I will. What I'm going to do is in partnership with the consciousness of the one I'm channeling. I know what he knows. And in these moments, he sees what I do. Pretend for a moment you are going up the mountain and you choose to have a Skype session with someone in Sacramento. Now that is doable because the internet is available through satellite. If you have a satellite receiver and a battery-powered computer, you can Skype. anywhere on the planet. And so you choose to talk to a man who is in Sacramento, and you open your computer and you begin the conversation. And there you are on the mountain. The screen is there pressed against the rocks. Keep it out of the sun so you can see it. And you're having a real-time discussion about the energy and perhaps the geology. And along comes a 1,000-year-old elder from a time machine. And he looks at what you're doing. And he falls to his knees. And he says, "You're talking to the man in the mountain." And you say, "No, that is not so. I'm Skyping." And he says, "No matter what you say, my eyes show me one thing. My senses tell me one thing. There's a man in the mountain talking to you and you're talking back." He bows his head, goes into ceremony. What would you say next? Do you understand the levels of physics that you would have to walk him through in order to get him to understand Skype? There is no electricity where he comes from. That's a beginning. Understanding the whole scenario of power. And then what about the digital age? What about computers? Not to mention the internet, and then applications for it. How many levels removed from his reality are you? And I ask you, is it magic? Are you talking to the man in the mountain? And the answer is no, you're Skyping. And you do it every day. But the elder, on his knees and now touching the earth with his forehead, is convinced that there is magic here, that there is essence in the mountain, and that you're having a real-time conversation. Now, some of you know where I'm going. How many levels removed is what is going on in the mountain from your consciousness right here? And the answer is hundreds. I cannot explain to you in a terminology you will understand what is there, but I can tell you that you're Skyping with Lemurians. And they're not in Sacramento. Let me give you the definition of Lemurians. They represent the core consciousness of the creative source, which is the seven sisters, which is the Pleiadians. And when the Lemurians put this together in a quantum state, they entangled themselves with the seven sisters. And what is going on in the mountain is in real time. We call it a time capsule. But you didn't ask what time. It's now. And the capsules are containing what is available now. Not something planted. A time capsule, not as you would plant one, but as one available to receive in real time what you've asked for. And out starts coming wisdom, concepts, invention, spiritual maturity, all available. The city in the mountain is real, but it's not in the mountain. If you know what I mean. Let me tell you who's going to get this first. It's the young people. Because they all know about Facebook. And they get the concept of what that means with others. Galactic Facebook. That's what's in the mountain. And so as you approach it, I would invite you to look at it perhaps differently than you have before. A consciousness that speaks to the old soul in real time. Not as something planted there to be released with ancient information that might have been good and wise, but a capsule ready to be opened with the right energies, with the right sounds, in order to bring you a real-time wisdom of what's next. It was designed for now. And that is the message of the day. So how are you going to interpret it? And how is it going to touch you? Are you open enough to involve your intellect to dismiss what you can't figure out? And if it is, you are opening to that which the old soul is here for. And that is the knowledge of the future and the maturity of your spiritual evolution. You are the next step. And the mountain can pump its information to you all it wants to, and unless you are in the receiving mode, nothing happens. So put up your antennas, dear ones, and get ready. For the mountain has much to say. And so it is.